Hey everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. Alonso here with Matt and Christy. They have seen the new son of Cronenberg movie Possessor. I have not, but they're going to tell you all about it.
Yeah, so Possessor is directed by Brandon Cronenberg. And yes, the apple does not fall that far from the tree in this particular film. There's definitely some seemingly gruesome stuff going on, or not so seemingly. Not quite his father's level, but this movie's a trip. Ostensibly, it's a story about, well, we start off with, we see a woman assassinate a guy and then starts yelling, "Pull me out." And what we end up finding out is that Andrea Riseborough is playing a woman named Tasia Voss, who is a corporate assassin of sorts. And she does what she does by basically possessing the body of another person and killing the target. And then she comes back out and either she's done what they say the rule is, assassinate the assassin. She's either made that possessed person kill themselves, or they're at least framed and set up, and then she gets to go on and do other things.
So she's quantum leaping.
Yeah, basically, her handler is Girder, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh. And one of the tests that gets given back to Tasia when she first comes out is asking her questions about her life and see what her memories are like. And you get evidence that there may be things that she's lost over time because it's a lot of work. And we find out that she's separated from her husband, although Tasia doesn't necessarily remember that they are separated. And there's another assignment that's given to her, even though she may not be ready. Tasia insists that she is. She's got to go after a guy played by Sean Bean, and she ends up taking over a character played by Rossif Sutherland. She gets
Christopher Abbott.
Christopher Abbott.
Rossif Sutherland is her ex-husband. Christopher Abbott is the guy she possesses.
She takes over this guy played by Christopher Abbott, and she starts to lose herself because Abbott's character fights back in a way that I think she's unprepared for, and has, she's not taken enough time since the last job. This movie's trippy. It's super trippy because as you watch it as a viewer, you're mostly seeing, yes, you'll get things where Abbott's Colin's looking in the mirror and he's seeing Tasia look back at him. But from time to time, Cronenberg will just switch the actors in the same costume. And it's not so much that it's confusing in that, but it's off-putting and it reminds you of things. And yeah, this movie's a trip, and it's got a real jaw-dropping moment in it that I was not expecting. I really dug this movie, though. I think, it's moody. I think Cronenberg has this good combination of tension and atmosphere, and dread going on. It feels very bleak. There's very little warmth to it. He's good at communicating the loss that Tasia is feeling, like this sense of being lost, but she won't admit it. I really like this. Christy, what did you think?
I dug it too, and I'm so glad that you insisted that we talk about it. There are so many movies that come out every week, and it's such a blur at times to know, like, what do we devote our time to? So I really appreciate you pushing for us to find some time for this one, because one thing I love about it is the fact that we are learning as she learns, right? We're not one step ahead of anybody ever. Like when she's in Christopher Abbott's body, she's had to learn about him. She's spied on him. She's very methodical as an assassin. And she'll spy on somebody, try to get the cadence of their speech down, little mannerisms, whatever, before taking over their body. And it all takes place in Toronto, I want to say. And, but like once she's in there, she's trying to figure out who people are in relation to, Colin's life. And so when there's like a friend of the girlfriend who is hitting on him, she's like smart enough and has done this enough to like think on the seat of her pants, like, how do I handle this? And so to be in the middle of that mystery along with her is very exciting. I also love some of the little details and the way she does her job. because for every job, she's given a gun. And she's told to pull off the assassination with a gun. But I almost think she views her job as being an artist in some ways, not just a cold-blooded killer, but there's some like personalization and some identity and like personal touches she wants to put on each killing. So with like, for one, she'll use a knife, and for one, she'll use a different kind of object than the one that she's supposed to. And that says so much about who she is and how she does her job. They never actually really address that, but it's clear that she's trying to, in a world and in a job where she is a very shiny and important cog, she's still trying to assert a sense of self. And that's interesting. I like the way when she has to go back to her ex-husband and her son. She's got a little boy who's maybe like 11 years old. She practices sounding normal. And from the first time she does that, it is so clear what's happening. And I love the way that the script trusts us to figure that out. She never says, oh God, I gotta get myself ready again to go back home and seem normal. She's just standing in the middle of this very bleak street, rehearsing her lines. And it's so clear what that means. And I like the trust that the movie gives us to pick up on so much about who she is by the way that she handles herself.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I love about this is it kind of low key asks us to think about, do our memories define who we are, right? Because her handler has to remind her that she's been separated, and because she have right early on in the movie, it's not a spoiler, like it's one of the early scenes, and she has to kind of and she almost does, like she doesn't really believe it, and so when she goes back home, her husband is somewhat surprised that she's just come back because she's she's supposed to be living someplace else and focusing on the job. One of the things that comes up is her handlers and the other people that work with her are asking her why she's not sticking to the letter of the assignment. And I think part of it is she's enjoying what she's doing, right? She wants to feel something, like the gun's too remote for her, right? She wants to feel the intimacy,
generic, maybe.
Yeah. And like she wants to, similar a little bit, it's kind of what we hear in The Professional, where he's like, no, you start from the gun way back. As you get better and better, you get to use a knife, is one of the things that Leon says in that movie. And I think there's a little bit of that going on here, in that's one of the, like, she has to hide her emotions and not react to her emotions when she's in the job. But this is a thing that's really tactile, and she gets to do, like, to her, this is the big perk of the job, right? Like on a certain really sick level, the big perk is she gets to, like, rather than, yes, they want me to use the gun, but I can be here and I can feel the last heartbeat and the last breath of somebody that I've killed. And I think that means something to her. I also really like Abbott in this. I think he's really great. He's always good. So good. Yeah, I really dug this. I also, the other thing that this movie does is it presents terrifying, maybe not even alternate, but a terrifying potential aspect, or maybe it's a real aspect, but a terrifying potential aspect of big data and AI and what all of our wired devices may be doing.
Right. Yeah. The job that Christopher Abbott has with this company is to just like watch what people are what they're doing. It's like they're spying through laptop cameras, right? And
he's looking through any camera. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but it involves somebody cataloging things, like the cameras are used as part of a data cataloging, like item cataloging and data collection, and that then could be very, very valuable.
It's interesting too how that's an invasion in its own right? I mean, like, so people's physical bodies are being invaded for these nefarious purposes, but then the thing that seems truly intimate and trustworthy, the thing that's on your lap all the time, is also not safe. You are being invaded in that regard as well.
Does it compare to like Videodrome or Existenz in terms of what Cronenberg the Elder was having to say about, like, tech and, you know, the invasion of the human body and lack of privacy.
I think you can compare it to Videodrome very easily in that regard. Like this thing that seems like exciting and, you know, like it's the future, also tears away your soul.
Right.
And that I think this movie is definitely trying to say that. And there is, to use the phrase that we all enjoy, there is Cronenbergian body horror.
Woo!
Oh, is there? It gets gnarly, but it's not gratuitous because again, it helps us to understand who the characters are. And in one instance, and I don't want to give it away because it's trippy, as Matt has said, like there is like a layering of like one character within another, and an understanding of who is really in control of these bodies. And it makes you think, and it's terrifying all at once. And so it explores what it means to be human in his own way that is also inevitably going to be compared to his father. It's hard not to, because he's making really cerebral, but also really shocking sci-fi thrillers.
And I will, you know, I think, look, you can obviously see his father's influence, right? But with this film, he's doing his own thing here. This is not like this. If this was a David Cronenberg picture, you'd be like, well, that's a really different direction for him. I think he's really set his own kind of tone here, and I'm excited to see what he does next.
Also, we have not to talk to you about how fantastic Andrea Riseborough is. In this. She's so chilling.
She's so good.
She's so good, and
I haven't even seen this, but I know she's great. She's always great.
She just always makes really daring choices, and she picks movies where she can truly immerse herself into a character that is scary or off-putting or challenges your thinking. What was the movie?
Mandy?
Oh God. Yes, thank you. No, Mandy's the Nicolas Cage one, right? Yeah, there's that.
She's in that.
Yeah.
Oblivion, the Tom Cruise one?
No, I'll look it up on IMDb. Where she's like this weird loner and she lies about things to get close to people. I'm gonna look it up on IMDb while I'm talking.
She's a loner.
Is it Saint whatever was she the nurse, or was that not her?
I'm looking. Hold on. But she's really great. Yeah, Christopher Abbott's always really great.
Yeah, there's
Nancy. It's Nancy Alonso.
Oh,
remember Nancy?
Okay. Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna show you
one of the things that Riseborough
remember?
does so well in this is that she's mysterious. Like she's got this aura of mystery, even within herself, right? And like you said, Christy, like we're learning things as she's learning. She's as much of mystery to herself because of her memory loss that she is to us, and I really dug that.
Anyway, it's great. It's a trip, though. It's not for the squeamish, though. If you don't like blood, it's going to be a problem. I'm saying 8.3. It's Possessor Uncut, by the way. In the U.S., it's called Possessor Uncut. So I don't know how this is a different version.
Was it ever cut?
I guess it had been cut because there's a title card, at least in the version that I saw.
Right.
Before anything even begins, like this version is uncut.
I imagine, is this the same version that was at Sundance and then maybe
maybe not
its theatrical window got cut? I don't know.
It played at Sundance, and then it came out theatrically last month, and now is on VOD. So
totally worth seeing.
Totally.
Yeah. I give it an 8.5. I really like this, and it's, you know, I mean, it's a treat to have a movie like this that it sticks with me for a while, because we burn through so many movies and there's so much out there that's forgettable. You know, for better or for worse, this is a movie that I'm going to be remembering for a while, and I dug it.
Yeah, I'm saying 8.3, you say 8.5, so that's 8.4. Even I can do that math. We don't need days and days to count our numbers.
Yeah.
we know what we want. So that's out for VOD now, so go find it.
Yes, it is streaming in all the places. Thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and do visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Right now, we're digging into the new season of The Mandalorian. We're talking about the Stars documentary Seduced, because there's just never enough Nexium, and a lot of fun stuff coming up, including that Lego Star Wars Holiday Special on Disney Plus. You don't want to miss us talking about that. Thanks for watching, you guys. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves and each other. Anything you want to add, Christy, before we wrap?
I was gonna say, just like by the time we see you guys next week, we'll have a president.
Maybe.
We think.
And it should be a new president, not the previous one.
Well, we'll have a president elect.
We will.
One
Right.
hopes.
Right.
Anyway,
Right. We hope next week to be able to say Habamos Papam. Right. Isn't that what
What?
they say?
What?
Habamos Papam. We have a pope.
Oh,
Come on.
Like-
You guys went to
like
Catholic
Haiti-
school.
I didn't. I'm public school trash.
I went to a private school. I was raised Catholic, but I don't know if that makes any sense at all. Anyway,
Habemus. Is it habemus? Like habeas corpus? Habemus?
Yeah. Like it's Habemus
Papam?
Papam means we have a pope.
You're the one of the three of us who got married in a Catholic church, Matt.
That's
no,
right.
Nobody else here did.
look for the black smoke coming out of the White House. That's how we'll know there's a
Exactly.
new president.
No, it's white
Anyway.
smoke.
Bye. Be safe. Bye.